Mm, 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 mm. Second. I'll start in a second, fellas.
Emmanuel, are you working too?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay.
Uh, I, do you mean like working as in a job working?
Yeah.
No. My job will
All right.
probably ask me to go come back within
I
like the
guess
next month.
we'll go on ahead and get started. And as people file in, I guess we'll let everybody know how we've been doing for the week and everything before we get into our stories. Because I don't know if you've got a chance to really go through it or not, Emmanuel, but I put a couple of stories out there for us to kind of like, so a couple of things that caught my eye. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to it or not. Just wanted to kind of put a heads up out there, or what kind of stuff that you've seen also that you wanted to bring up. So we'll have plenty of time to get into that later on. I guess it's been about a minute, so I guess I'm going to hand the show intro. Uh, eventually we'll have to do a little bit more production with this, get some music on or something. But for now, we'll just go on ahead and go with our regular, basically acapella open. This is the Political Matrix, and I am your host, Sean Morpheus, and I am here with my good friends and co-hosts, Mr. Blue Maverick, also known as Emmanuel, and Mr. Cy Lawson, also known as Mr. Chris Lawson. Had a fiery debate on my panel last week. Very interesting, and if you guys did not catch it, please take the time to catch it. Listen to both perspectives. Do your homework. Do your research. And always keep an open mind. I don't even want you to take me 100% if you are a person who is a loyal listener. Uh, what I do want you to do is do your diligent research always, and always be skeptical of all of the things that are going on around us, because everybody has a motive and everybody has a game to play. And so, anywhere where somebody has a little bit of power, typically what you see, there's always somebody within the power abusing it. And no matter what walk of life we look through, it's pretty much a consistent trend. And how I've always looked at things is everything is top down. So if you run a society doing a bunch of crooked stuff at the top, it trickles down throughout your leadership. So the stories that have kind of caught my attention, some of them were a little bit, eyebrow raising. So I was like, you know what? I'll throw that in there just for a little bit of fun. And then a couple of other things which it might not seem very impactful or important at the moment, but I feel like they could materialize into things that we need to worry about. One of those kind of off the wall stories is Ebola might be something that we need to worry about coming up soon. So that's what we're going to get into. Um, sorry, I lost my, hold on 1 second. Oh yeah, we want to talk about the Russian hacks. There have been recently there have been numerous Russian hacks at various government facilities, namely a couple of them being weapon sites. So I think that's something that we definitely need to talk about. And then that also dovetails into another subject that I think that we should talk about with John Kerry being, I believe it's Secretary of Defense that he'll be in, or well, you guys can correct me in a moment, whatever position he's going to be holding. He has made comments to the effect of kind of a old-fashioned boots on the ground type of war with Russia in the Antarctic. And I know that might seem like, oh, well, that's, not a big deal, or, that's just talking off cuff. But he tied that into trying to fight climate change and Russia being a big barrier to climate change and having to actually take it to military, actual fight or battle. Um, and then he also noted to China and controlling of them from getting certain natural resources or whatever. So It's just something that I think that we need to pay attention to. I was talking about a shout out to Franco. I call him Franco, but I believe his first name is Bruno to be exact. But For his show, I definitely recommend you to check out his show. As I did at this panel, we talked about some of the things that were going on with that whole Kerry situation. So we'll dig a little bit deeper into that, and then we have a handful of other stories that have kind of caught our attention that we've kind of talked about a little bit off camera that we would like to discuss with everyone tonight. Um, I see we have a couple of our friends joining the chat. Sunny Days says hello fellas, hello back to Sunny Days. Kelly is in says hello Jens and Chris, who's at the party. Sorry, that's me. Um, yeah, I have
Yeah, that's you this
Like,
time.
kind of having a balance in the couple of things, but it's all good and having fun. So hopefully you all hear me okay. Um, I'm sure everything will be okay. So how oh and I see signs is joining us. So Emmanuel, Chris, how are you fellas doing? What's on your minds?
I mean, Chris can go first.
All
I
right.
think right. I think all of mine just have to do with like the
Emmanuel,
vaccine.
you're on mute.
Mhm.
No, he's not on mute. He's good. Oh,
No,
now he is.
no. I mean, I was. I For some reason, me and Chris were on mute, and I
I
never
can't hear
pressed
at
it.
all.
So
I can hear you just fine though.
Okay.
okay. It's about to be Christmas soon. Just stuff about the vaccine. A lot of political stuff. Um, I guess they're already connecting the vaccine to allergic reactions, a higher susceptibility to HIV, and then on the other hand, I guess they got this because the fact, I guess they're getting all the, Congress got their dose, and Pence, apparently Pence took it on television or whatever. So you were right. We are seeing the rollout happen right now. So guess that and then I guess the what's the other thing? The AOC Jimmy Dore beef about pushing for the Medicare for all to the floor. I think those are the two most significant things I've seen dominated my news feed
Um,
recently.
you
Yeah.
know, what's up, everybody? Fellas, we talked already. Crowd, the audience. Thanks for coming by. We appreciate it. What's going on? Hope everybody's doing well on this Saturday night. Um, I see a couple comments already, guys. We'll stick to the AOC Jimmy Dore thing. Let's just get that out the way. Um, it feels very 2009-ish, public option-ish. Um, you know, I get it. Regardless, whichever way you want to attack this, whether they withhold a vote, force a vote, or I mean, not withhold, yeah, whether they don't support Pelosi or they force a vote, whichever way you go, you're not getting the program anyway. So I just hope that people would keep that thought in the back of their mind. Um, really, what this really highlights for me more than anything is that you need to build coalitions starting locally before you can go take on this big national monster, because you see it just gets so nasty. You listen to ALC's response to the comments is pressure that she's getting from people like Jimmy Dore. And, she's responding with Washington talk. Like, well, it doesn't work like this here. There's a process, which she's not wrong when she says that, but it just, for me, it just further highlights like the entire system is broken. And to continue, as I say all the time, looking for the Democrats to change, you banging your head against the wall asking why you have a headache.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I've pretty much laid a whole lot about the whole AOC Jimmy Dore. I, I guess I'll say one thing. It comes down to, are you an activist in the way you approach things, or are you a politician? And even if you're not an elected politician, the way you handle things is what I'm kind of more or less talking about. Um, if you're a mother and your kid has been taken away from you through social services and it was unjust and unfair, are you going to wait and diplomatically try to figure it out? Or are you going to keep on fighting 100% whether you win or lose? More than likely, most mothers are going to fight win or lose. And politics, it's the same way when people are fighting for issues. Take, for example, the gay community. Um, Myself, Chris, and Emmanuel definitely remember back to, how things were growing up for a lot of the gay community. It's drastically different. That's not saying that everything's perfect between, the communities, or even how a lot of the people in that community would want it to be. But everyone would have to agree that for the goals that they've shot for to achieve, that society has come to, things have come a long way. And so you have to take into how they fought for those things. They didn't decide that, oh, well, I mean, we're going to let this go or let that go and we'll wait for this other bill here. And it has to be the same thing on all your fights. If you take the same approach which you take towards that issue, and you put that towards, we need to stop the money in Washington, for instance. Well, I mean, if they shut down the government, then paychecks are not going to go out. There's not going to be any kind of perfect solution without any kind of growing pains. And so sometimes you might yourself have to suffer through a little bit to get yourself to a better standpoint. And if you always try to find out the path of least resistance, you're going to keep going down the same direction. And so I look at it as no different with AOC and a lot of them now. They think that they can kind of negotiate their way around things and figure it out. Um,
Marcus, they going hard in the background, man. I hear that.
yeah, yeah,
They getting a
yeah.
drink on. I ain't mad at them though. It's a Saturday night, kid. So don't even trip.
I'm trying my best to try to keep it together and try to stay focused the whole time. So my apologies, everyone. But they haven't saw each other in a while, so just having a good old time. Um, oh, one other thing last thing I guess I'll say on the whole AOC and Jimmy Dore thing is, a lot of these people, this to me kind of pulls the mask off. It's a clear divide. Who's going to fight when you really need to, and who's going to try to capitulate and figure out what the hell they want to do. I guess I'll leave it at that. I'll turn it over to you, Chris. What do you all think, Chris and Megan?
Well,
Well, I understand AOC. I understand AOC's stance. I mean, if I'm getting paid, what I think they're offering, what, 75 grand a speech or something like that to her, or something like that. I mean, that's just the type of monster you rolling with, I guess. So, but everybody complaining that Jimmy didn't handle it the right way. I mean, just
well,
somebody was calmly and rationally saying exactly what he was saying probably years ago. So I think he's just taking advantage of the outrage. It's obvious that Biden's not being pushed left. I mean, that dream is pretty much all I've dreamed pretty much all but died. So
And we have to, again, considering who we are, right? We I take joy in calling out all those people in the media who look like us, who were screaming that push Biden left. They look like clowns then to me. They look like even bigger clowns now to me. So I don't feel um it,
ooh, now that he asked, I just remember who's a good example? Like Benjamin Dixon, right? Benjamin Dixon, was adamant about pushing, people left for Biden, and then when the whole AOC or whatever got out, what did he start doing? He started clowning Brianna for like being connected to like white supremacy within the liberal party. It's all show. It's all a little song and dance to keep people entertained. That's all it really is at this point. I was just like,
that's that's how it appears to me. Because you can't be serious given the Democrats' track record. I mean, since Obama came into office, '08, you may have given him some, 2009, 2010, maybe even through the first 4 years, his first term, you gave him a bit of a chance. But just seeing the behavior of the Democrats, we already know how the Republicans behaved at that time. But just given the behavior of the Democrats at that time, you saw they had no interest in dealing with anything that the people wanted. Any kind of people-related movement, the Democrats did their best to initially get in front of it, appear like they were with it, and then as soon as it dropped from the headlines, did everything they could to sweep it up or look the other way when the authorities came through to clean up something like Occupy Wall Street. They were pretty much really quiet on that. So we can't uh, I laugh at those guys, all of them, whether it's Van Jones, whether it's the other Dixon cat, or who else. Again, irrelevant. All their positions are like real traditional, conventional. And then I guess because then they talk about reparations or they talk real good on black issues, they're given they're listened to a certain segment of us. But I mean, it's just talk, you know. And all those guys get money for it too. Like, they'll collect the money through them accounts. We ain't asking for no bread over here. We just talking our shit.
And I mean, to add on to that, that's one thing you have to pay attention to. Right before the election, and when they were all begrudgingly saying that they're going to vote for Biden because you just have to get Trump out, they were saying once Biden gets in there, day one, we're going to start fighting. And what do you see now? I mean, I don't see very much fight. I mean,
It's easier for them to attack what's her name? Brianna Greyjoy. I think that's her name. It's easier, I see online anyway, that it's easier to attack her than to actually go at people with a little bit of positional power. Um, what did we see? Black Lives Matter, the organization, at least, they put out a statement saying that they've tried to reach out to the Biden administration for something and they've been ignored for 30 some odd days.
and that's
So
the same with I can't remember
joint
that climate change group. The young activist sunflower not sunflower but
Sunrise Movement, I
you
think.
know what I'm talking about.
Is it?
break.
Sunrise
No, I know you
movement.
to the Sunrise Movement. hmm And what is it? I think Bernie Sanders. People are noticing that none of Bernie Sanders people is in the cabinet or anything like that, and they're not getting much of a response there. It's like, yo, you got played. It's a wrap.
Hmm.
You know,
It's pretty much at this point you're just watching like I always say, it's theater, and it's bad theater. It's not even good. Um, I staying on AOC. If those out there who have Instagram, if you go to AOC's Instagram page, she covers how her and other members of Congress took the vaccine. And of course, she says something to the effect of, "Oh, everything is okay. You know, people only get nervous when they see needles or maybe blood." I mean, she's the ops now. After seeing that, if you look, she has 10 slides on that one post regarding the vaccine. If you just go through it, she shows the vaccine card, the all. Pay very close attention to the language used the within her post too. You could tell almost like somebody told her to say these things specifically, and again, it tailors it fits perfectly with the COVID narrative that we've lived with the past 8 months, and now the vaccine messaging that we've seen over the past few weeks or so. So, like I said, just go to Instagram, check out AOC's page, just make the determination for yourself. That's how I took it. I read it and I just shook my head like, okay, she's not even worth support anymore. I gotta tell my people in Queens, like, nah, yeah, she's done. You can't be serious with this. We have to take this very serious, right? And we can't just play games about this anymore. If we're gonna talk truth, we gotta talk truth. You can't do that. Pothole Pete.
Hey, I was
Look,
gonna say, I was gonna ask the audience a question, and I want to give it at least, I'll give a minute for everybody to answer first. Um, does anybody mind if the background noise gets a little bit louder? Because I'm having trouble hearing the manual. So I'm gonna take my headphones out. Is that okay, everybody?
That's fine. I don't. You're good here.
see, that's you know,
Yes, no, maybe.
it's good that she posted that because again, it just shows that people are at the very least looking into some of this stuff, right? Um, oh, guys, did you see the article? I know we didn't talk about this before, but it just crossed my mind, so I wanted to bring it up. What you gonna do with your $600 check, Emmanuel?
I survive. I get. I said that with the $1,200 check, man. I mean, that shit ain't gonna last. Shit is nothing. Shit is a joke. Man, shit is nothing. That shit is a
Look,
joke.
did you see the
That shit is
CNBC article?
afraid.
Look,
No,
you saw
I saw the CNBC article that told you to figure out how you could that told you could figure out how you could save it, and it was just like Feed the Pig, like what 9? Remember Feed the Pig like 9 years ago when nobody had any money, and they were like, if you did all of this, you could get through the recession easier. It's the same damn thing, the exact same damn thing. There's a
it really
recession.
was, man.
There's a recession. There's no money, right? And you got this article coming out from MSN, CNBC, MSN. They're all come from the same
Exactly.
place.
NBC.
Telling me how to handle $600, all to cover up that old lady's failure. She is by far that South Park negotiator with the It reminded me of the episode of South Park with that shitty negotiator. I would have taken that negotiator who gave Cartman like fucking everything over what Pelosi fucking did. That was just pure. That was just a show. That was all a show. Pelosi's deal was a show.
Because the thing is, they literally said in the article, one of the bullet points, how they give you the headline and they give you some of the bullet points within the article. So within those bullet points, one of them was like, oh, maybe you should take this money and pay down your credit card debt. More so, if you really need, if you are in a position where that money can really help you in terms of how you in food, electricity, gas, to get to work, whatever. That's an insult to tell people to pay down your credit card.
But that 600 is not going to fix the rent that people are overdue by like months. It's not going to stop them from getting evicted. That won't. If they do get evicted, that won't help with their house. That won't help with car. That won't help with a car payment.
Exactly. You know what? Though, I have to alert people, crazy brain time, right? Um, what I'm thinking, they're trying to get more and more people dependent on the government. Why? I haven't quite figured that out yet. It just seems to me you're playing and you have people begging for $1,200, $1,800, $2,000. You have even a few senators, like even Bernie Sanders, advocating for even maybe some back pay over the time that they didn't give us anything. But it seems as if they're sucking people in on some level to be dependent upon the government. When that happens, in order for you to get the money, you're going to have to do certain things. You're going to have to walk a certain way, talk a certain way, behave a certain way. So as we ask them for the support that a lot of people need, we should also be mindful going forward as to um, how these policies are actually written, because you match the checks that people want with the UBI stuff that people are screaming for on the left. It sounds good in theory, but we know the people who actually administer these programs, they never have our benefit in mind. So if I didn't make sense, if I lost people, my bad.
I was gonna say that actually kind of segue into one of the comments that you were talking about when you which you sent me earlier about that. I guess it's a TV show or something. What was it called? Feed.
Oh yes.
And I mean, I thought it was kind of eerie, and it's something that it's kind of a mesh of a bunch of different scientific, not scientific, but sci-fi different theories, and movies and plot twists, kind of all kind of thrown together. I feel it's kind of a mixture of Minority Report with a little bit of like Johnny Mnemonic and The Matrix, kind of a little blended in with a new age feel. But it was just eerie, with all that we have going on, and you know the different theories that are out there, and let's just go ahead and go through a few of them, about
Well,
Great Reset
Marcus,
and
since
some of that stuff like that. So,
Marcus, sorry to cut you off, but
yeah,
since you brought up the feed, I have the trailer pulled up. Now I just want to give the crowd a little advance and everybody. So the feed is a show that's on Amazon Prime. Basically, it's about the internet or technology being implanted into your body, so you can access the internet without a device. It's already in you, right? So I started watching this over a couple months ago. This thing is kind of crazy. So I'm gonna play the trailer for you guys just to show you where I think these people would like to take us. So here it is. I'm gonna share my screen now. Give me a second. I'll get you guys in a second. Just there we go. Share. Boom. Bing bong. Boom. Imagine every human on Earth connected. Thought. Feeling. Yeah, that's sweet. Real. Time is here. Who's here? Beatrice Marie. Welcome to the feed. Where shared experience. It's just an announcement. Show me. It's now a reality. Something's wrong. I think off. They think her feed did something to her brain. The world needs this technology. Millions are in danger. The feed is causing erratic, violent behavior. Every system is susceptible to viruses. Everything is under control. What made you do that? I don't know. Your safety is of the utmost importance to us. Importance to us. Importance to us. Importance to us. In the wrong hands, it could tear us apart. All right, so that was that. So I brought that up just to show you guys a little bit of the trailer. So this stuff is implanted in your brain, all of your money, your memories, your thoughts, everything is connected to this system. Again, and if the tech was standing by itself, is that necessarily a bad thing that we would upgrade to that kind of level? Not necessarily. Um, Again, who controls that technology is the issue. And it ties into what Elon Musk said earlier this week about humans needing to merge with machines deal with uh, to deal with the future of artificial intelligence. So
Which,
some
sorry to cut you off real quick,
no, you
but
straight.
that dovetails into that other story that we were talking about with Elon Musk, what he just said recently. So I mean, if you have the story, go ahead and bring it up, and then that way we're not talking off the cuff, so they can see exactly what we're talking about, and be able to see the actual headline.
You see it there, right?
hmm I guess I'll read it. Elon Musk, humans must merge with machines or become irrelevant in AI age.
And look where
Now,
he said this though. He said this in 2017,
mhm.
right? So if we're talking about 2017, him saying this, we're in 2020. If you look at all of the technology surrounding this coronavirus pandemic, um, you can see that we're pretty much moving in that direction.
Well, and then not to mention, if you think about what he's been talking about with his brain chip, that he's been trying to push that and other microchip technology, where can't remember what they were calling it, but they were putting the chip in and tracking their diet and different health regimens.
Go ahead, Emmanuel.
No, it also ties in with the rise of It also ties in with the rise of machine learning, right? They say what by 2030, millions will be out of a job. So, I mean, the feed seems what is that? I think it was a Black Mirror episode. That's actually what it reminded me of. It was a Black Mirror episode where they where ugh, they've done so many things that just kind of really freak me out, like that thing with the feed where like all of your memories and stuff are linked into like this huge feed, and then what is it that like literally everything you do is online, and you literally have no privacy and no identity or whatever. So I mean, first we see it as entertainment, and then what's next? We see it as
Form of
a
control.
functional reality. See it as a functional reality. First it's entertainment, then it's a functional reality. So all that tracks. Thinking about gifting mine, I want to Kamala's delicate.
His stimulus. Yeah, that was sharp, Signs. I don't know if everyone watching will catch that, right? Signs said he's going to gift, one of Kamala's delegates some money, but he said he's going to keep it to himself. Well, it's kind of hard to give something to nobody. So the Signs, that was sharp. That was very good. I like that. Variant says Elon Musk knew what was coming. Of course he did. If you take a look at his earnings over the past couple months, you've seen his earnings has gone up exponentially to the point where he's like number two or three on the Forbes list now. He knew something was up, just like all these tech guys knew something was up, because we all know, they're the ones running the show.
I was gonna say, I guess I'll read that story which I talked about in the top stories about the possible Ebola panic that we may need to worry about. The title of the story is Spanish nurse case heightens European Ebola threat. I guess I'll read a little bit of it. It says a nurse in Spain has become the first person to contract the Ebola virus outside of West Africa. This case adds some precedence to what looked like dodgy looking statistics being bandied, bandied, well, I don't know what that meant, about over the recent days. The Madrid hospital where the nurse works is being investigated by the European Commission after the 40-year-old woman was taken ill. She's been treated by two Spanish missionaries who were flown in after contracting the virus. In Liberia, Ebola is highly contagious, and sufferers must be completely isolated, preventing spreading. And so they're worried about the. As you get deeper into the article, it talks more about the two missionaries that were with the nurse in those different parts of West Africa, where the Ebola was spreading, and they were trying to treat it at the time. And so they're worried that it's possible spread throughout that hospital and that it can get outside into the streets of Madrid. So that's just another thing to add on to worry about with the whole COVID-19 thing, which is everybody's dealing with. So, and then there's also, I've heard that there's been up to at least 5 different strands of COVID-19, which they found so far. So I'll just add all that in, and I'm sure Chris has something to say about it.
Well, this whole year, I mean, we're 11 days out from the end of the year. Everything is being organized under the cloud of coronavirus, so kind of tired of it myself. Now we're at the vaccine stage. I want it to go away more than but it just won't. It's here to stay.
Yep.
But what Marcus mentioned was very important, though, going forward, though. Ironically, I guess, or maybe not, since the vaccine has come out, what has been in the headlines? Oh, new strains of the virus. I just read before we come on. I couldn't remember which European country it was. Sorry for not having my facts all together. But there was one European country that shut its borders, I believe, to England as a result of this new strain of coronavirus. So again, it just seems they're paving the road of this foundation to keep this narrative alive.
I just said I believe that was Portugal. Sorry.
Say it again.
I said I believe that was Portugal.
Okay.
Well, I saw that theory. Well, I saw that theory a while ago, right? With the when I brought up the strain, when I was talking about the different strains, and then they found the strain in like the mink or whatever in what was it, Sweden or some Scandinavian country, and I was like, I guess the next thing after I said, I guess the next thing after the vaccine is that they're going to start saying that there's like, different strains that have evolved, and then one of them will probably end up being resistant to the vaccine that's coming out. I was just like, it's only a matter of time before that happens. So that's unsurprising to me.
So on the advice from Kelly, she told us to look up ivermectin. So I just quickly pulled it up. What is ivermectin? Anti-parasite medication. Ivermectin is used to treat infections in the body that are caused by certain parasites. So you guys can go and look this stuff up. The trials so far have shown ivermectin reduces the number of cell-associated viral DNA by 99.8% in 24 hours. Further studies are needed to determine the effectiveness of this medicine in humans with COVID-19. So, with that being said, thank you, Kelly, for that information. I suggest people go and look that up. What's ironic is, I don't know if you guys saw this weekend, AMA, American Medical Association, just reversed its position on hydroxychloroquine. I just had to bring that up again because I said that from the start. Again, that was just used to screw Trump and company up and to help the numbers get to where they are now. Because had they been using the hydroxychloroquine or Plaquenil, had they been using it all this time, at least in some people, their symptoms would not have been as bad as they claimed. But they couldn't allow anything that was effective against the flu to work, because then it totally kills their entire narrative about this being new, never seen before, etc., etc. So I just wanted to bring that up. You guys are on mute. I don't know if you know that. It's just me right now. Run the show.
No,
Oh, Kelly, I see your comment. That's funny shit. I don't know where it came from.
we can model the one robot model after Chris Sterling. I think it's from last week when she brought it up. Remember?
Yeah.
Right. You know, I don't agree with everything that Trump said, but he glorified the praises of a hydroxychloroquine. He said that viruses were going to be out before the end of the year. He's managed to keep both of those promises. So, I mean, it's all it's all playing out. It all seems to be playing out the way that it's supposed to be playing out.
Mm-hmm.
Biden sets up for the presidency. He'll change some things, but he won't fundamentally change anything. Therefore, setting up the stage for another Republican to rise in his place, same as it ever was. So,
let me ask you guys, or the crowd, are you guys going out locally, like to restaurants or bars or any place where people gather usually? Is anyone still doing that in the crowd, or how about you, Emmanuel?
I went to one restaurant and I didn't even eat in it. I just ordered something and I went in full mass, and I turned around, I picked up my meal and turned around and left again. Between that and going to the supermarket, I have not stepped foot in the I've stepped foot in literally one restaurant in, I think, like 8 months, 9 months.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
it was only like maybe a handful of times, and then even after that, I had to stop because eventually I was broke, so I didn't have any money. So that was part of the reason why I stopped. So,
got it.
How about you?
See, me, whatever's open, I try to go to, as long as they don't drive me too crazy. But on my strip, there's a pizza shop that I've been going to for years. Like, I know all the guys, the owner, everybody, all the employees, etc. So last night, I go to get a slice, order some pizza. So I go in there, and I didn't have on a mask. It was actually empty. But I know all the guys. As I'm walking in, they're like, "Hey, Chris, what's up?" And they're like, "Please put on the mask." So I'm like, come on, guys. There's literally nobody in here, just y'all. And they's like, "Chris, they already know. They know what time it is." They're saying the health inspector is walking up and down the block, checking everything. $10,000 fines being issued if you're not $10,000 fines if you're not compliant with your customers, making them wear the mask, keep distant, etc., etc. So they are effectively killing, or they're hurting the small businesses, the people who own like little restaurants. They put them completely out of business, and they're doing it slowly, of course, but they're not gonna be around too long under those conditions, because you're just gonna piss off a whole lot of people by doing it this way. And Marcus sent us this article. Go ahead.
Yeah, the shutdowns already hurt. The shutdowns already hurt small businesses, the restaurant industry. I mean, it's only a matter of time before they're on their final leg anyway. So I'm sorry to hear that.
It's frustrating, because if you go to this article, I'm gonna pull up here. If you read, 1 in 6 restaurants have closed down. Mom and pops suffer much worse than chains. The U.S. restaurant industry is undergoing an earthquake. And obviously within the article, it cites data, it gives you numbers, it tells you, about relief, what's going on, the lack of support from the government, what have you. Uh, Again, this puts a lot of independent people out of business and dependent on the government going forward. This is what we have to be very mindful of. We have to think more community minded, less government dependent. We got to support our own people where they are, because if not, the only thing left is going to be Walmart's, the Targets, the Lowe's, the Home Depots, McDonald's, Taco Smell, or Taco Bell, sorry, or, the rest of it. So we just have to be a little bit mindful of that. Go ahead.
No, I'm not been hoping that they get the money from the government though.
Mm-hmm.
They've been hoping for that for a while now. So, I mean, I'm sure all of it's connected. Like the restaurants are struggling, and you're already hearing stuff like, what was that? I think the like restaurants getting huge shipments of food. It helps out another group that helps out the corporations or something like that. Like literally all of their inventory or whatever seems to be diversifying in other areas, because of course the restaurants can take them because they're closed. So I think fish is one, but that's all I had to say.
Oh, okay. Marcus, what's up, man?
No, I tried to see if I could try to come back out and hear, but I still can't hear Emmanuel. What did he say so I can respond?
Oh, Emmanuel, say it again. Can you can't hear him at all?
It's funny. I couldn't hear Marcus for like the first.
I was listening on my phone on the live stream, but it has a little bit of a delay, so I didn't hear that last part.
No, for the first 10, 20 minutes, you're not even counting the party was standing, I couldn't hear Marcus at all. I could hear Chris. I couldn't hear him. You can hear Chris, and I could. But, I heard the delay.
Marcus.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I hear you now. I have to make sure I turn my phone up and down, but so I don't have a whole lot of too much echoing in the background. Let's see, the Taco Bell and a lot of the small businesses collapsing is kind of the overall topic and theme we're on. And I've said it for a while that if you're into gardening or you want to start getting into it, now's a good time. Start stocking up, because all you have to do, you don't have to even do the research of going into the conspiracies and different things, following the money ties. You don't even have to do any of that. I'm gonna keep it as simple as I can, because I realize a lot of people on the left, though they've gotten pretty good at understanding policy and what would work and how to balance the budget out and things like that. What they don't understand is strategy. And when you have people in power who have a certain perspective or way they want to do things, and they have decided wholeheartedly that they are not going to let you come in and change it. And they have the power of the media, they have the power of Congress, they have the power of all the levers of control. And you're thinking that you're going to go in there and change what's going on with them. It doesn't work that way. The only way is you have to force them. And because they didn't do the proper things to put them in that situation and use the pressure, And outside pressure is what I'm talking about. You got people who are who are willing to get in the streets and protest and show up and some act a fool. When you have that, that puts a little bit of fear in the politicians, and they will start to do certain things which they were saying that they were not going to do before. Or you get a little bit more credence behind you. They might say, well, you're not going to get the committee position. Where you're like, well, you're not going to get any peace for the next 30 days because I'm going to make sure they hound you everywhere you go, day and night. That I don't think people understand how that kind of psychological balance affects people and how it can motivate people to do what you want. Um, if you look at how politics was played hardcore back in the day, that's how they played it. They had politicians literally scared for their lives. Our politicians look at us and we're a joke, honestly, to them. Many are up there thinking they're, well, how can we do this without the least amount of problems and upsetting, and it's kind of like, if we're trying to get into the big house, the big evil enemy's house, to get whatever our objective is, we can't be worried about stepping on the roses in the garden on the way in. And that's what everybody's doing. They're tiptoeing over it, knocking on the door, hoping that he's not there, peeking in the window. You got to kick in the door. Go for it. For whatever the policies or things you want to do. And since nobody's doing that, the situation is just devolving and devolving and devolving. And you're going to put more and more people who would not normally have gotten the streets and done something, or people who would have never normally taken an extra check or manipulated some stuff or stolen an extra $20 out of the register. All these things like that. You're going to start pushing people to start, to a level of desperation. And when these people get desperate, you can't get shocked when you see people breaking in stores and people looting and all these things. You can't get shocked and then feel like, oh, we want law and order now. You let it get there. And on top of it, at the same time when this whole pandemic's been going on, we have country after country after country around us to be able to look to as examples on what they did. And we see, not saying these countries are perfect or that they handled it good or bad, but the one thing you can look at is majority of them are not walking into and having all these problems that we're having, and are not nearly as unstable as we are as a nation. So I'm telling you, prepare for next year to be a long and possibly rough year.
It's not even to be a Debbie Downer or whatever. It's just about looking down the road and saying, "Yo, there's clouds coming." Get an umbrella. There's nothing wrong with that. And look, if you get an umbrella and it doesn't rain, so what, right? At least you were not a big deal. But 2021, I don't have a good feeling about any of this. We still don't know what's up with the election, even though we've had all these announcements. Tomorrow, Monday, is the 21st. Aren't they supposed to be in some kind of? Isn't there some kind of announcement going on tomorrow?
Which one are we talking, like actual official type stuff, or are we talking about in the conspiracy theory out there, little left it way past left field?
No.
Because it's an interesting, funny topic that I kind of heard about in the kind of, I guess I'll say, spiritual community. What we call alternative spiritual community. And we're not talking about the typical Christians and Muslims that you would normally know about, but this is getting into like people who believe in Kemet. I don't know if you all are familiar with Kemet, but it gets pretty wild with some of the stuff that they believe in, and I'll go into some of that. I'm sorry.
So, hold on, real quick, Marcus, before you go. Right. So I think isn't the electoral college supposed to? Isn't the electoral college supposed to make a certification tomorrow or something like that? Somebody please correct me if I'm wrong. Like maybe I've had a little too much to drink, but Maybe you could help me out. Well, I wasn't even looking at the comments. Jesus Christ. Go ahead, Emmanuel. Get in there.
Here, hold on, I'll be right back.
Yeah.
I like how they quoted Demolition Man.
Yeah.
That was funny. I still don't know how to
So,
use the scales.
look, on December 20, on the 21st, Black people are supposed to get superpowers, okay? It's all over. It's all over the net. I don't know if you saw it, but in a few hours from now, less than 24 hours, Emmanuel and I will have superpowers. So, since it's a Saturday night, let's keep it light and tight. Emmanuel, what kind of powers you hoping to get? Or if you had your choice, what are you choosing?
I would want a healing factor like Wolverine if I wanted anything.
Okay.
I mean, my health insurance is shit, so that's really what I would want. I mean, being able to heal some stuff because I damn sure ain't getting Medicare for all. So healing factor.
That was
Healing
good.
factor.
So, Marcus, since we're talking about getting these superpowers tomorrow, right? What powers are you hoping to get? And don't take mine either, yo. Don't take mine.
Well, see, I did not hear at all.
No, I didn't say mine yet.
I literally just sat back down. So if I take yours, it was completely by accident.
Yeah.
Let's see. Because that's right. They say that we're supposed to sit out in the sun, and these special rays, like apparently, like the Most High is gonna like open like the firmament, like it's a sunroof. It's gonna part it for like what I think it was 7 days. Like
Yeah, something like that.
They're gonna leave it open, and then we gotta like just like everybody get out and like I guess get your foil little, I don't know what they call it, but when white people go out and tan, they have a little foil thing like.
Oh yeah, that thing they put under their neck, right?
Yeah. So you're gonna, I guess we all need to go do that for a couple of days, and then we're all gonna have superpowers. And so since that's how it's gonna go, I think I'm gonna make my superpower. I think I'm gonna have super speed. I'm gonna go for super speed.
Okay.
That way, it doesn't matter what you try on me, I'm outrunning it. I mean, go ahead, shoot guns at me. I'm gonna put the bullets in your lap, still hot.
See, because I'm a little more cerebral in my thinking, I just want to be like, if I can't be Professor X, then I'll be Jean Grey. Like, you know what I'm saying? Either or, because you really can't mess with me. Like, and even if you have on the Magneto helmet, I'll just get your homie come and do it to you, right? So I would like that.
Science is faster than the internet. No, I'm talking about like faster than the Flash. Like, you know how Flash was so fast, and one of the times he like turned the world like, well, Superman did it too, but Flash, he like literally like turned the world backwards and start going back in time. So like he went all the way back through like the prehistoric ages with dinosaurs and stuff like that. I'm talking about that kind of speed, where like you literally can change time and dimension. You can literally time travel over the portals.
You know, I was thinking leaving the power structure in place, right? And being that I have mind control over Debo, right? I could, when they get on their podium to make their speeches, I could just make them tell the truth instead of their freaking canned lies. And I think that would make for some great TV.
Oh, I guess I forgot. I did have one story that let's see if I have it still prepped up on my phone. One story that I did want to bring up. Let's see, where did it go? Because it's
Marcus, read that one, Marcus.
Said, man, they're gonna black out the whole sky with chemtrails tomorrow.
Tomorrow it's gonna be a nuclear bomb from. It's gonna be a nuclear attack from Russia tomorrow.
Well, you know what? You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Now, also, if the Bible is real, they're gonna burn every copy of it tomorrow too. So just leave that out there. Waiting for my conspiracy theory, biblical prophecy of the day. Yeah. Well, I got it coming. I got it coming. I'm gonna save it for the end of the show. You know, some of the other fun listeners we have, you know, they might be like, you know what, I got my political fix. I got, you know, my things I need to keep my eye on that look a little strange out there and fishy. But, you know, we can say that for later. So, you know, for those who want that extra little nugget, hang around to the end. Got something good for you. So, that's right. The story that I was going to read, it is Russia, talking about the Russian cyber attack. Because, you know, there's been multiple Russian cyber attacks. And this article from the Mirror states Russian cyber attack could cripple NHS amid fears sleeper bug planted in March. It says a sleeper bug is feared to have been planted in computers in March to harvest confidential patient data. The software is also used by vaccine regulators, and the alarm was raised after similar U.S. systems were hacked. A high severity alert has been issued across the NHS network. Now the race is on to find a way to activate a kill switch, which SolarWinds, the Texas-based company providing the software, has devised. The bug in SolarWinds' Orion platform can wreak havoc in a repeat of the 2017 attack, which caused the cancellation of over 19,000. I think you have it there. But yes, that is what I'm talking about. That article there, and we have had kind of a rash of cyber attacks from Russia now. I find it very, very odd that while the whole Trump thing was going on, while they believed the election was hacked in Trump's favor, while we have all these things actually going on that are being reported about, we're not hearing hardly anything really talked about Russia, unless it's coming from an American politician who's actually bringing something up, which dovetails into the other story that we're talking about with, which we'll talk about in a minute, with John Kerry. So I'm just wondering, like, what do you fellas think about, you know, this story? What do you think about it?
Democrats need a new scapegoat, right? I mean, Trump's only got like a month. He's on his way out. They need something to scare people, put the fear in them, stuff like that. So, and then if I really wanted to go out there, I mean, it's affecting vaccinations. If it actually does stop vaccinations from getting sent out, well, then that'll cause panic and lockdowns, right? So, and there's that. So that still it still works in their favor. All kind of seems like a huge distraction to me. So that nothing has to fundamentally change.
Well, also too, it sticks with the narrative, as Emmanuel mentioned. He brought up the Democrats, you know, as he should. They needed a new scapegoat. One, Edward Snowden already told us and showed us that they have programs that they can use to make it seem like somebody else did something when they didn't. It's kind of like using fake fingerprints, right? You put them over your hand, you touch it, it says Johnny X was here instead of it being actually you. So, and again, our intelligence services track record is pretty trash. So when I hear these stories come out about cyber hacking, we're cool with Israel. We spend a lot of money with them. We have a lot of money in Silicon Valley. So you're telling me like Russia is able to bypass all of those things to be able to affect the healthcare system? I mean, again, if you follow the propaganda like I do, a few weeks ago, it was Iran maybe hacking maybe hacking the information for people who are trying to provide the vaccine to companies that are providing the vaccine. So now it's Russia. It plays the same way. And you see in that clip I highlighted before, state actors. I mean, it's the same shit they was talking about in connection with Trump's victory in 2016. You know, state actors, Russia, Russia, Russia. So again, it's more of the same. Just now they removed the Trump aspect of it, and now they're saying Russia's going after our healthcare. And again, it ties into all the tech shit we've been talking about, because if they've hacked all these systems, clearly the solution is to come up with a system that they can't hack. So how about we put the information in your body?
And then what's been going? What have we been hearing? Snowden was supposedly going to get a pardon. Assange was going to supposedly get a pardon, and then literally within like a month and some changes to when they were saying that, you know, the stuff with Russia is coming out. Who were the two most ardent people that were pointing out Russia is a hoax? You shouldn't listen about that. Snowden and Assange. So, you know, if Democrats pick up that ball and run with it, Snowden's not getting a pardon. Assange's not getting a pardon. I mean, they weren't going to get one.
Did you see Sarah Palin come out talking about pardon Snowden? I was like, damn, Sarah, this is like the first time I agree with you on anything. So, you know, I guess a broken clock is right twice a day, as I always say. So, you know, kudos to Sarah Palin for shouting out Julian Assange. I never expected to tie those two together. And you notice all the Democrats are silent on Snowden and Assange, too. So just more evidence that they are 100% the ops. I mean, now you have certain Republicans saying, like, yo, free this dude. You know, maybe we should look into this. Democrats are looking the other way, like, you know, Black Lives Matter until they don't.
Yep.
I can't help myself, man.
Yeah, I mean, the pause for a moment before I say anything. The one thing which I don't think a lot of people think about whenever the Espionage Act is applied, it's not applied very often, and from its inception, when it was first created, it was a very, very long time before it was used again after it was first used. I mean, it was like hundreds of years before they ever used it. Before they use it again. And now, how they basically use it is, if there's somebody out there who's releasing information which they don't really want to be out there, then they run that charge against them, because it's, from a legal standpoint, it's murky enough that they can fall up under it for virtually anything, just a matter of how it wants to be interpreted and how that court system, how that district judge is going to interpret it also. And so a lot of times, since what we fail to mention is, when you build relationships, whether you work with each other all the time, if you're federal employees tend to stick with other federal employees. So if one department comes over and asks for a favor, yeah, they might push and be more on the side of going against that person who leaked the information. Now, we go back to Daniel Ellsberg, what happened with him when he was trying to release the Pentagon Papers. They were going after him, and the only reason why they didn't put Espionage Act charges on him also, hold on a second.
Marcus over there, sound like somebody's zipper came down. Chris, behave. Don't say that. Right? That sounds like a zipper came down. Marcus, I hope you're enjoying yourself over there, man. But, you know, we're going to keep it PC. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to get into this. Would Trump pardon Ghislaine Maxwell? Well, you know, that is his friend, right? But no, he's not going to pardon her.
He's probably going to die.
Sorry, where was I at? Oh, yeah. I was talking about Daniel Ellsberg and the Pentagon.
Manuel had jokes about you, kid.
Yeah, I mean, that's gotta put some.
No, it wasn't him. It wasn't E. It was me.
Well, Well, what happened with that? The only reason why they did not go after him is because a certain senator, one of my favorite senators, a Mr. Mike Gravel, was the person who introduced him into Congress on the record. So if they were going to do the Espionage Act, they were going to have to put it on him also. So they're like, oh, do we really want to put this on a sitting senator? So that's the only reason why they didn't do it to Daniel Ellsberg. But if you notice, Snowden, what was it, reality winner, I'm trying to remember, John Kerry. You go down the list of people and you look at what they released. And that was normally the thing. Trying to remember who was it who released the information about Abu Ghraib, and who also released the information about the shootout between the private troops. Well, I don't know what they actually call it. I call them mercs, but the basically government, paid mercs who are over there who had a firefight with Marines who were on the ground because they didn't identify themselves properly. And now you got paid people who are supposed to be on the American side shooting up American troops. So it's a lot going on, and they hide plenty of things. That's the reason why everybody was all excited last year when Trump was about to do the whole JFK thing and start releasing some of that stuff. And then he decided at the last minute to hold up. Whoa, 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 I can't release this. Because there are still people who are alive and well, or who their family members are in prominent positions that if that information comes out, it is going to stain them and ruin their careers. And some of them might actually get some jail time if some of this information comes out at a certain time. So they're going to hold and stall, let these people get old, or let statute of limitations, come up, whatever kind of crazy murky crap they want to do. But that's what they're going to do to hide their secrets. And most of the people who get put under this charge are people who are telling dirty secrets of, mostly America, these people we're talking about, but around the world when it comes into the whole Assange thing.
Well, the whole thing is, it's sad, right? Because you would think more people would be on board with Assange or Snowden, but they're not. So again, it just goes to show how powerful the programming is from on high, because you listen and love the liars and you want to stone and kill the truth tellers. Again, that speaks to the whole inversion thing that we always talking about. I mean, you can't hide from it sometimes. It's in your face. Marcus, that was the alley-oop, kid.
I can't help it because somebody else was in the chat section trying to put stuff in people's faces. So, I mean, got me over here, a black man blushing, but I'm like, I'll let you take that, Chris. I'll let you take that. Let me try to focus and finish into this last story before I get into the prophecy stuff. So, focusing. Shame on you. But anyway, John Kerry made the statement that we have to watch Russia and China and control their interests in trying to get oil and other resources from the Arctic. And actually said that them going for those interests will lead to bigger issues with climate change, and therefore we might possibly have to use boots on the ground military fighting them in Antarctica to stop this. So, Emmanuel, what do you think? I don't. I mean, just hearing him say that, I didn't really have a. There's so many different ways to go with that because it was just such a bizarre statement.
I didn't even know about John.
Hey, what do you think, brother?
I didn't even know anything on Kerry, man. That was not but I did not know anything about John Kerry.
Damn, he's echoing.
Am I? Well then after the statement, I'll leave and I'll come back. The military-industrial complex needs a new war. Seems like Kerry's the man to do it. You know, the Russian narrative just seems to be they're carrying it at this point. So, I mean, they were trying to do it before. They're definitely going to try to pull it now. It's definitely something that's in their purview. So, same as it ever was, right? Same song, different verse, right? Is it a different verse? Same verse, something like that. Same song, different verse, same verse.
That's it. Oh, yeah, Kelly's right. Look, John Kelly, John, whatever his name is, John Kerry, long face, Jay Leno, squared, right? He's gonna save us from climate doom, and Pete Buttigieg is going to fix all our transportation issues. How the hell you give a dude from Bumf, Indiana, a transportation gig for the entire United States? I'm not dissing nobody in that place, but I'm just saying there's probably like 2 half buses where he comes from. Like, you should at least pick somebody from a big city if we're going to talk about transportation. I mean, again, it's just a joke. John Kerry, Buttigieg, I don't even care how to say his name. Like, I feel real disrespectful towards these people because they don't mean me well. So why should my decorum, be nice? I don't care.
Well, I mean, it goes into that whole. If I'm still echoing, you can tell me. It goes into that whole, it goes into that whole Biden. Biden hired the most the most diverse candidate ever. I mean, I think the person covering climate change is supposed to be the first black guy who ever did it. And I'm just like, okay, so we get to see a black guy screw us over on climate change. Yay! Let me throw him a parade. So.
Well, also too, the pick for the defense secretary is a black dude too. So great. The one black man that they put in the cabinet is overseeing the Department of Defense, where he's going to be responsible for killing a whole bunch of black and brown people. So that's the irony. Like I said, the inversion is too hard to not see. Okay, so let's pull up Mayo Pete, a man that barely won a. What'd you say, Marcus?
I was going to read. Go ahead.
I'm just reading Kelly's comment. Mayo Pete, a man that barely won a mayor's race in a town of less than 100,000, is surely going to solve all of our transportation problems in a country of 330 million. Precisely. Like, this dude, I mean, look, and then the media, again, the bullshit that comes along with it. What did they put out in the media? Oh, Pete Buttigieg knows about transportation. Him and his husband got married in the airport, or they met in the airport. I don't care where you and your husband met, bro. I really don't. You unqualified. You could take that bullshit somewhere else, man. Maybe it's the Apple thing kicking in. I don't know, but it's just my patience for this stuff is just so thin. It's like, we could talk about like entertainment or something instead.
No, Marcus. Pete's a climber first of all. Pete likes putting stuff on his resume. So he did not want a transportation gig. He did not ask for the transportation gig. He was really hoping he would get like a top spot.
Mm-hmm.
Thought he was gonna spot in Biden's cabinet. And then that would pretty much lead him into what, maybe running for president again in like 4 years when he thought it was going to happen. But
look, Perfect example. Going back to a topic we touched on, I just checked something on Twitter. Right, Elizabeth Warren was coming up in my feed because she pushed back against Trump in regards to this Russian cyber attack. I I don't know if you guys saw the story, but uh, I mean, we covered it just now. But Pompeo went on to basically say it was Russia. Trump even downplayed that and said, and then this what pisses me off about Trump, right? Pompeo says, "Oh, it's Russia." Trump comes back and says, "Well, no, maybe it's China." You know how he likes to say it, right? Why are you screaming China's name when you don't even have any evidence to back that claim? Chances are it's coming from right here at home, but Trump just really doesn't want to say that. If he says there's swamp creatures everywhere, why is your main thing to blame China? You know, it's it's all just a game, man. It's annoying as hell too.
Or you mean China? You know, like he
Yeah,
said, kind of
that's the
sounds
only, that's the best thing about
Flattening
Trump
way,
will be
like
the
mocking them for their
China
voice.
virus.
I was thinking, I was wondering, you all ready for a little bit of the prophecy stuff? I guess Kelly was talking about it earlier. Hmm? Are we ready? I mean, are we ready? Are we ready?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, because what a lot. I'm gonna bring up one that they don't like to talk about very much. So I'm gonna read. I'm just gonna read, and I'm gonna let you all out there figure this out on your own. Whatever your interpretation is, go with it. Or you can always, DM me or whatever, or email me at, what is it, Marcus J K, yeah, Marcus J Cage at Yahoo if you want to email me. Um, if you're not on social media. But what I am going to read for you is from the Bible. It is Isaiah 63, and I'm gonna read. Let's just see. So this, what I'm reading, is an end time prophecy. This is said to be well. If I read the whole thing, it gets a little long to get all the way down there when it explains that it is the
63 what, Marcus?
hmm? Was that
63 what?
uh let's see, Isaiah 63 and 1.
You starting from the beginning.
Yeah, you have it KJV.
Yeah, who is this coming from? Edom, from Borza.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I got you, player. I got you,
All right,
player. I'm on it, kid.
put it on the screen so they can see
Yeah.
it. Also, so they'll know this is not my words. This is from the Bible, 2,000. Well, let's say thousands of years ago, and this is an end time prophecy to expect. So I am going to start off reading it off. He has it highlighted so you all be able to see the verse changes because I'm not going to keep yelling out each different verses, but just remember this is Isaiah 63. This is starting at the first verse. It says, "Who is that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra?" Now, one thing I will say is, if you look back, there is a video which we did. It didn't get a lot of views because it was right during the holidays, and so I know probably Thanksgiving a lot of people might not have watched. But right before that, I believe it's called like Mount Petra. That was the original home of this group of people who originated in this place called Petra. So we'll keep reading. And I'll start back over. "Who is that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? This is glorious in his that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength. I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and why thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? I have trodden the wine presses alone, and the people there was none with me. For I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I shall stain all my raiments. For the day of my vengeance is in my heart,
Marcus,
and the year of my
Marcus, real
revenge.
quick. What
I will,
number you on? What number
that
you on? Because this is kind of interesting. Real quick, what number were you last reading from?
let's see. I left off with for the day of my vengeance, hard to come to redeem. That was fourth. That was the fourth verse.
Okay, never mind. Go ahead. Sorry.
Let's see. I guess I can read a little bit more. Five. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore, mine own arm brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. And I will tread down the people in my anger, and make them drunk in my fury, and I will bring down their strength to the earth. I'll read
Marcus,
one
do you see
last.
the difference? Like, I just pulled this up right from this website, right? This kind of, I guess this can take us into something else too, right? So I pulled
Mhm.
this up on BibleGateway.com, right? So it
Yeah.
tells us it's the new international version. Whatever version you're reading from is missing a lot of words. I mean, whatever this version here is missing a lot of the text from what you're reading. So
Oh
again,
yeah.
that's I think that's great to highlight. I mean, we kind of stumbled onto this, but
Well,
it's
no, no.
just
Well, I've known about this, but it's something once you get a little deeper in the studies, you start noticing certain things between the translations in the different Bible. That's the reason why I don't. I primarily read from the King James 16:11. When you get that, that is the of the Bibles that we have in English. That's the oldest one. Now, when you start getting into these New Living Translations, they start changing certain things around. I'll give you one perfect example. You have a verse, what is it, Deuteronomy 28:68, where it says that these people will be sold into slavery in the King James Version. If you look in
yes.
the NIV, I believe it's the NIV and the ESV, it says that they will sell themselves. And I'm like, why would somebody sell? It said they will be sold into slavery, then they're going to sell themselves. That doesn't make any sense. And so what I started realizing is when did these certain different variations of the Bible come about? And when I started to trace the time periods, most of that had to do roughly about the time when United States was dealing with slavery. And I'm like, pretty interesting that this version from the 1600s says this, and this version from the 1800s says this. And there is literal verses in there that says that that was going to happen.
Yeah, so that was very interesting to see because if you don't look up the source material and you just choose to look things up solely online, you can be easily misled or misinformed purposely.
Yes. Like what that verse, the reason why I thought it was an interesting one to bring up, because a lot of people in the Christian church will tell you about how great and the kingdom of heaven and all that. Well, you got some stuff that's got to happen before you get to that. And that's the part which they don't like to talk about. Man, it's like, if that's the case, then it says this needs to happen, and some other stuff needs to happen. But what I will tell you is most of the people in those seminary schools are taught not to ever read any of this stuff. And that's the reason why you have people sitting in church like, well, how come if I'm good most of my life and say I lived to 70, well, I do a minor thing here or there, maybe a lie here or there, but this person can kill 70 people and then just with all his heart have forgiveness and we both sitting in heaven together. That's the reason why people run away from Christianity, because that doesn't make any sense. And what I read in the Bible, it says there's some balance. So some people and judges people individually, but he does judge his nation. And so you got to understand what your nation had a part in. And what nation? There's 18 nations in the Bible. You have to figure out which one you're a part of, and what history do you go back to? Because how I understand it is the reason why certain people went into certain slaveries because of them, their mistakes were, their children had to suffer for it. And the common theme I saw over and over and over is you do this, okay, I'm warning you, okay, then your descendants, this is what's going to happen to them. And so it's kind of the same thing. Certain people had to go through certain things to recompense, and then to get to the good point, some people who were kind of maybe benefiting and going through some good stuff, they're going to have to go through some bad stuff. That's just how it is. So, what do you think, Emmanuel?
I don't really have much of an opinion on that, man. If the text says it, the text says it, and should we should follow the historical perspective. It's a shame that there are versions of a different version out there. It makes it harder to find to which part is the truth, and which because it's omitted. But ultimately, text and matches up. It matches up. That's all I really got. That. But at the end of the day, it's a texted it's history, and who knows, maybe 2 years from now, some I don't know, some obscure book that I don't some book that I never thought people would follow could be seen like the Bible too. So I mean, the world's a funny place. That's all I really gotta say about it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Martin.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, what I started realizing as I started reading more and more is that a lot of the stuff which people in the Christian faith, how they look at stuff, a lot of this miraculous stuff, how I understand it differently is all the stuff God does, good or evil, because there's scriptures I can show you where He said He creates the evil also. But He said, every death is sanctioned by Him. So when that little baby, is a victim of, a stray bullet, that was God's judgment for whatever reason. Because it says, is there unrighteous with God? God forbid. So, I mean, He's like, I do what I want to do. I created you. So it's not up to you to decide to like it. One thing which I always found interesting is that as I started reading more and more, one perspective which atheists has some truth to it. A lot of atheists believe that after you die, nothing happens. Well, if He decides that your judgment is to just be done, you're done. There is nothing after that. The grave is that, that's you're going to hell, basically. I mean, well, technically what we're living in for some of us is a version of hell. Hell is just perspective on where you're living within the society we're dealing with. If everything is going good for you and you feel like you're being blessed, you're in a version of heaven. If it's not, and you don't feel any way out of the box, and you always feel like there's strings attached to you, maybe you're not getting whipped over the back as a slave, but you know what it's like to turn around and almost get into three accidents and risk getting every ticket in the world just to run back to get a name tag for work.
Mm-hmm.
If you have that kind of pressure on you, then I mean, how much different than you are kind of as a slave? You know, it might not be physical, but you are being controlled. And you can't, none of us can decide that, you know what, I'm just going to go get my own water. Even water, which was always free, we have to pay for. If you make a
Correct.
every little thing in the world, we have to pay for. And you're not free if you got to pay for everything. If you can't decide, you know what, I'm gonna go find me a free spot of land. Think about it. We have thousands and tens of thousands of acres which are completely vacated. Nobody lives on them. There's anybody could live on them, but the government will decide, um, we are not going to let anybody live there just because. Let's see. You should really see the boards. There's a lot of insight on how this is. Should I go there? Should I go there? Should I go? Chris, should I go there? Should I answer
No,
this?
because we almost at the end, so we're gonna leave it. We'll get back to it another time.
I mean, because that's a that could get pretty hot.
Correct.
It's a little late, so it's about an hour and a half in. So I'm signs. Bring that one up next show. Don't do it on the
The
panel.
Borgia's comment.
Not on the panel on this show, but because it's gonna go into some different areas where I don't want to. I know I'm gonna have to face this eventually, but I'm not trying to go there on. Not trying to go there on the panel. A lot more of the audience is not completely, I feel, mentally broken away from some things yet. So some truths, good or bad, are still hard for people to accept. So you gotta kind of walk people to things. You can't just flood them with everything, and that's something I had to learn the hard way. You give people way too much information, it could just be an overload. So just a little bit, till it gets to the point where they have to honestly look at this amount of evidence which you provide to them and honestly, make an assessment. And I feel if you make certain comments without prefacing all this information and laying out, this information in a platform before, then you're going to have a hard time proving this information when it gets to you making a certain declarative statement. And so you need to have laid everything out, ducks in a row, all your research and evidence. So the people who are going to be upset about it, because make no mistake, people will be upset about where it could possibly go, depending on the question and how far I decide to take it. But it could get a little
Marcus, I was trying to hold my laugh when I saw this comment, right?
mm,
I saw it, I just yo, Kelly's crazy, yo.
mm, 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 mm. I already, you know what? Under my faith, I already know what they're gonna do with Kelly. Kelly gonna end up being somebody's concubine.
I think I just got corona, kid. I think you just hit me with the Rona from Cali, yo.
I was like, you know what? I just
Yo, Kelly's a married lady, man. Be nice. You can't be putting there somebody concubine.
I'm not me. I'm not.
Kelly, please don't. You don't have to leave. Don't be offended.
No, I just read the Bible. That in fact, I will. Next time remind me. I'll bring that verse up. I will
Yeah.
Literally, it talks about in the Bible. In that paradise in heaven, you'll have hundreds of fathers and hundreds of mothers and hundreds of husbands and hundreds of wives and stuff like that. So, it gets interesting, and then believe it. But I'm just saying what the book says. I didn't write it. Did not write it. Oh, Kelly says she's too much. She's too much.
Oh man.
Okay.
That was it's
We
funny,
had
but it's a Saturday night, so we gotta keep the jokes. So
I
that
keep
was
the
pretty
jokes and
funny
the
though.
fun
That was
going.
a good retort.
All right.
That's funny.
I hand it over to my man Manuel. What do you say? What do you have to say before we get out of here?
Well, I ain't got nothing to say. I just I think it'll be Christmas next week here because I gotta going to probably have some family come by or whatever over the weekend. So happy holidays to everybody. And what is the next? And then I guess the new year was so I guess a happy new year as well. So that's what I'm closing out with.
Yeah, same here. Next week is gonna be an easy week at work. It's only a couple days. After that, just relax. Try to find some food, and just take it easy. That's about it. I don't have much planned. It's tough. You did that, Marcus. That's not me. My hands are right here. My hands are right here. Oh, what is
Hair
nice say?
hair man. Hair man.
All right, good question. Marcus, highlight the next one by Sign.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, we try to behave a little bit more on the other platforms, but our fun and shenanigans from this channel slip over there occasionally. So slap us on the hand there. Yes, definitely. Definitely.
Yes, correct. Everyone should enjoy
Definitely.
themselves.
Yes, I will be celebrating my first Hanukkah, so I'm excited for that.
So I guess that's about it, man. I guess we're wrapped for now. Marcus, are you coming? What's the deal for tomorrow?
Oh yes, tomorrow. Let's see. What time do I have a schedule? I can't remember what time I have a schedule, but we do have a panel set for tomorrow. I will make sure to tweet that out later on tonight. Also, was it 3 p.m. Pacific? That'll be 6 p.m. Eastern. Let you all figure it out in the Midwest. My mind is can't do the math right now. So anyway, I will be joining Steve Poikinen for Slow Day News tomorrow, 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. So make sure to check that out. I think, oh, that's what time it was. We will be going on at 1:30 Pacific. What was that? 4:30, 4:30 Eastern.
Marcus Signs, he got something for you.
I'm gonna say this. I never again go Chiefs. That's what I'm talking about. That is what I'm talking about. You want to know something crazy, which I saw having to do with the Chiefs? I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I have to double check, but I think the Simpsons actually had the Chiefs winning back to back a couple of years back. So they could fulfill that prophecy. I mean, that'd be pretty cool if they did. You want to say something, Chris?
No, that's it. I was just gonna tell the audience, thanks for coming in. We appreciate it. The comments are cool, lively. It helps move the show along. We're just everyone have a good week. Enjoy the holiday. Eat well. Be around your people. Do not be scared to be around your family. Go around them, hug them, kiss them, love them, all that shit. Don't let people mind you into thinking that you can't or shouldn't be around your loved ones. Because guess what? They're around their people. We've seen it multiple times. So, again, just buck the system, be with your people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. You've seen all the political leaders. It doesn't matter if it's city, state, local, world leaders. We've seen them all, violating different orders. Literally, right after they're on TV. Some of them are breaking the orders while they're on TV. trying to think they can, sit out on the balcony somewhere and people won't figure out that you're in Mexico when you're supposed to be in Texas. But
Correct.
I mean, they're doing that. So I just say, enjoy every moment you have, enjoy your family, enjoy your friends, and don't let any of this stuff ever really get you down, because a silent killer that a lot of us don't think about is stress. And so all this worrying is not helping you either. So make sure you find something where you can just let something out, have a little bit of fun. If you have something with a good book to read, if you whatever, something that'll get your mind away from all this crazy stuff, so you can have your woosah. So with that said, I appreciate everybody that's joined us. I appreciate all the comments, and I wish you all happiness and enjoy in all of your festivities that are coming up. Make sure that you all are, of course, keeping common sense and safe out there also. But we never know which day could be our last. So make sure to try to enjoy every single one of them and live them to the fullest. This has been the Political Matrix. I'm your host, Young Morpheus, and these are my good friends, Emmanuel and Chris. You guys have a good one. Thank you.
Have a good one, everybody. Peace out.